Hi guys, welcome back. Today I'll be doing my January book haul, and I've got, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 books, kind of combination of middle grade, a couple graphic novels, and a couple YA books. No adult fiction in this particular one. But let's go ahead and get started. The first book I picked up actually just this Friday at a used bookshop, and it is The Books of Elsewhere, Book 1, The Shadows by Jacqueline West. Now, I read this entire 5-book series during, I think it was the month of November for Read Kids Lit. Absolutely loved it. I listened to it on audio, so I didn't have physical copies of it, but what I like about the physical copies is there are several full-page illustrations within, so it's really, really enjoyable, and I think I want to reread the series sometime and actually do it through the physical copies of it. Just look at these beautiful illustrations. Just a really good adventure story. There's like horror mixed in, talking cats, lots of humor. Highly, highly recommend this series. Audio or physical copy. The next book I got at work at Barnes & Noble, a friend of mine there bought it for me. She absolutely raves about this book, and she says she reads it constantly, every year. And it is The Westing Game by Ellen Raskin. This is a Puffin Modern Classic version, middle grade story, and the interesting House of Cards made out of money on there. I've seen this book so many times that I never picked it up and never knew anything else about it, but on her recommendation and her gift, I'm definitely going to be reading it. It says it's a bizarre chain of events begins when 16 unlikely people gather for the reading of Samuel W. Westing's will. And though no one knows why, the eccentric, game-loving millionaire has chosen a virtual stranger, and if possible, a murderer, to inherit his vast fortune. One thing's for sure, Sam Westing may be dead, but that won't stop him from playing one last game. And I think they read this sometimes in school, so I'm not really sure. Like I said, I've never heard anything or anybody review it, other than my friend who absolutely raves about it. But if you read it, let me know down below. And then I picked up The Lottery and Other Stories by Shirley Jackson. Absolutely love her writing. We Have Always Lived in the Castle was so captivating and so creepy. But this is a collection of like 25 short stories. Now, I'm not a big fan of short stories, but since it's Shirley Jackson, I wanted to give it a shot. And also The Lottery is in here, and I've heard The Lottery described, and it even says it on the back, as one of the most terrifying stories ever written in this century. And I was shocked to discover it's only actually 12 pages long. It's like the last book, the last short story in this collection. 12 pages. How scary can you get in 12 pages? It's got to be awful phenomenal. But it says it's a collection of from the hilarious to the truly horrible. So I've not read anything that's super funny from her before, so that'll be interesting. Yeah, I'm looking forward to getting into that one. Then I got an advanced copy at Barnes & Noble by Ruta Sepetys. This is Assault to the Sea. I'm really anxious to read this one. It's about an actual maritime disaster, and it's about the Wilhelm Gustloff, a ghost ship, it says. Capacity was only 1,400 people, but during World War II, it sailed through a snowstorm carrying over 10,000 evacuees. It was torpedoed by a Soviet submarine. The ship sank in 60 minutes, and 9,343 people lost their lives, including 5,000 children. The sinking of the Gustloff is the single greatest maritime disaster in history, dwarfing the death tolls of both the Titanic and the Lusitania combined. Yet the story remains unknown. And the interesting thing is I happen to currently be listening to the audio Dead Wake by Eric Larson, which is about the sinking of the Lusitania. So I'm really finding that story intriguing, and it makes me kind of want to dive into, pardon the pun, dive into this book and kind of uncover all the mystery about this particular story, and why has it been like, you know, it's not been in the news, or not obviously recently, but it doesn't have that same impact as, in the historical record as like the Lusitania and the Titanic did. But it'll be definitely interesting to read more about it. Of course, this is a historical fiction, whereas Larson's books are just nonfiction. This has, like, you know, fictional characters kind of mixed in with the actual historical events that took place. Apparently, the author's father's cousin was supposed to be on this particular ship, and fate intervened, it says, and she ended up not being on board, which I'm sure saved her life. And she kind of insisted that Ruta like write this story and tell these people their stories. So I'm really intrigued to, you know, read more about that one. The next book I picked up because I saw it on Charlie's channel over at Duvet Day Devours, and I couldn't pass up this amazing cover. It's a YA horror book entitled 13 Days of Midnight by Leo Hunt. I'm going to check out this dust jacket. Isn't that amazing? Super creepy, a little foggy background and those creatures there. And it's apparently about a man named a young man named Luke Manchette. He says he just received a lousy inheritance, his father's collection of vengeful spirits, and they'd like nothing better than for Luke to join their ghostly ranks. So for some reason, he is inherited host of 8 unique, powerful, and restless spirits, and he has to control them or they will take over him. I'm looking forward to reading that. Sounds really, really creepy. I know Charlie enjoyed it, and anything Charlie likes, I'm probably going to like because we have the same tastes. Then I have a middle grade graphic novel entitled The Return of Zita, the Space Girl by Ben Hatke. During November of last year, I also read Zita, the Space Girl, which is book 1 in this trilogy. It is a graphic novel. Lovely color illustrations, really great illustrations. It's just adorable. If you liked Amulet, you'll enjoy this. A good adventure story. Zita ends up finding this device out in the woods while she's playing around with a friend of hers. She pushes the button and it opens up a wormhole and a tentacle creature sucks her friend into it, and she ends up having to go off and rescue or attempt to rescue her friend. And it's just this big adventure. This is the 3rd book in the series. Unfortunately, I haven't found the 2nd book yet. I'll have to just go ahead and order it at work. That would be The Legend of Zita the Space Girl. But yeah, if you enjoyed Amulet, you'll definitely enjoy this one. And then I picked up this book kind of reluctantly, but I thought I would go ahead and give it the final chance. And this is Coffin Hill. This is the 3rd volume entitled Haunted Houses by Caitlin Kitteridge, Inaki Miranda, and Eva de la Cruz. And if you've watched my channel, you've probably seen me talk about this series before. I read the first 2 volumes, kind of mixed reviews on it. It has a tendency to jump back and forth all over the place in time, and it gets kind of confusing. But when I was in the comic shop, I saw this amazing cover, and on the back it does say that it brings the season of the witch to a close. So this should be the final book. It collects issues number 15 through 20 of the popular Vertigo series. So, like I said, I'm going to give it a chance to kind of wrap all up and see, how it's going to end. I'll probably have to reread the first 2 and get it all kind of back in my head. But I do like the artwork. I mean, that's the one thing that's probably the best part of it. It's just keeping it all, like I said, straight in your head. It's very dark and creepy and bloody at times, deals with witches and demons and all sorts of intriguing things. So, yeah, I'm going to give it a shot. And the final one I have is this gigantic, complete collection of a book that I originally had the Ultimate Collection, and I thought that was everything, but there was never another part to it, and I knew there was some more to the story. And when I saw this, I thought I'll just exchange it and get this one. And this is, like I said, Dead at 17, the complete collection by Josh Howard. It's a massive tome here. It collects all 7 volumes of the fan favorite indie comic series. And I love the artwork in this. I'll go ahead and read the back. It says, Hazy Foss thought she knew everything there was to know about the mundane average life of her best friend, 17-year-old Nara Kilday. But when Nara is brutally murdered by an unknown assailant, a diary is uncovered, revealing more about Nara than anyone ever knew. Haunted by sinister voices and terrible visions, Nara had kept her dark side a secret, filling her diary with strange symbols and cryptic messages. Soon, sinister supernatural forces emerge, creating fear and terror in the once quiet suburb of Darlington Hills. But amidst the chaos, an unlikely savior arises in the form of Nara herself, miraculously returned from the dead. Armed with just an axe and the secrets buried within her diary, 17-year-old Nara Kilday may be all that stands between us and the reign of hell on earth. It almost takes on like a Buffy the Vampire Slayer feel to it with this character, but the artwork is really great. I love it. My one concern about it was just some of the characters' facial features seem the same. So, I mean, like here's a couple characters here. And when you're looking at they look quite a lot alike, except for maybe a bit of difference with the hair. And if it's a zoomed-in picture, you're suddenly wondering, well, which character am I looking at? So that had some issues with it. But it's just a super great series from what I had read, which was probably about like that much of this book. So I'm going to have to start from the beginning, reread it, and I can't wait to kind of dive into it and wrap it all up and see where it goes. So that's my book haul for January. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you've read any of these, let me know down below, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.